Comes another one. Look at this. Woo, woo.
It's all right, book.
Hey, watch it, Frank. He's going to hit you with his Bible.
Oh. You're making a mistake.
Harrison Ford plays a big city cop who goes to live in an Amish community, but that doesn't make him behave very peacefully in the new movie Witness. I'm Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. In addition to Witness, we'll also be reviewing the latest film version of George Orwell's famous novel 1984. Also Diane Keaton and Mel Gibson in Mrs. Soffel, the story of a warden's wife who runs away with a convicted killer. But first, Roger begins with a movie starring two of the most popular country singers of all time.
Our first movie is named Songwriter, and it stars Willie Nelson as a legendary country music composer, and Chris Christopherson is the friend who tries to bail him out when he loses his business. The whole movie is a backstage look at the world of country music, its performers, its investors, its fans, and especially its drunks, its demons, charlatans, and lost souls. Here's one of the movie's concert scenes with Willie and Chris.
They kept us rocking till the break of day, already break it on. We used to take the fight day and night, try to sing up all the soul inside. Anyone who couldn't see the light, we had to leave behind. And the sweetest thing you ever heard was the singing of the speckled bird. Commercial is a dirty word. We made it on the line. It was all so easy then. We could do no wrong. We'll never be the same again. But the show
I like not only the music, which is great in this film, but also the fact that there's a lot more than music in the movie. For example, those two guys that you saw in the audience who are looking on are both country music professionals who are dedicated to taking every last dime that Willie Nelson can possibly put his hands on and salting it away in their bank accounts. The movie also has a lot of offbeat humor in it, too, and a lot of human nature. The story is basically about the Willie Nelson character who signs away the rights to all of his songs in a crooked business deal with a guy named Rocky Rodeo. And then he decides to ghostwrite new songs for an alcoholic girl singer played by Leslie Ann Warren. The movie was directed by Alan Rudolph, who also made Choose Me last year. And what that movie did for all-night saloons and lonely drifters, this one does for country and western music and lonely drunks. It's a good movie.
I thought it was good, too. I felt like I was taken really inside the music, country music business, raised a little bit to the comic level. But I thought it was truthful, just extreme, and very entertaining. I like the whole darn thing. I especially like Rip Torn as this country. You know, he was in a film called Payday where he played a similar character. He is such a good actor.
In Payday, he was playing Hank Williams Sr., and in this movie, he's kind of playing what would have happened to Hank Williams Sr. if he hadn't died in the back of that old Cadillac. Then the other person I like in this movie is Leslie Ann Warren, who was totally kooky and off the wall, and Willie figures if he can take this girl who can sing and let her sing his songs, then he can get around the fact that he's supposed to be writing all of his songs for the promoter.
I heard an interview with Willie Nelson where he said he did not act at all in this movie, that he decided no more acting, he was just going to play himself, and it's amazing. The camera loves the guy. He has a great look. His eyes, you just study his eyes every time the camera's on him, and that's entertainment enough.
That scene where Leslie Ann Warren tries to seduce him and he just looks at her so wistfully and so kindly. It's a great scene.
Yeah, very good film. Coming up next at the movies, by the way, it's a film that has not been getting much bookings around the country. Maybe this will help a little bit. Coming up next at the movies, we'll take a look at Big Brother watching us. George Orwell's 1984 is one of the world's best-known novels, with its portrayal of a totalitarian state where a mysterious big brother eavesdrops on everyone, where history is rewritten, where lies replace truth, where people lose their individual identity, where having sex is a crime against the state. And in this awful world, we follow the fortunes of one Winston Smith a timid everyman and his battle to remain a rebel in this world, to remain an independent thinking person. Here's the scene where Winston Smith and a similarly minded female rebel joins him for a taboo personal encounter.
Hello.
Hello.
Let me show you what I've brought. Look.
What is it?
Real sugar. Not saccharin. And I've got a loaf of bread, proper white bread. And jam. A real tin of milk. Look.
Coffee. Real coffee.
In a party, half a kilo.
How did you manage to get hold of all this?
Oh, there's nothing those bastards don't have. Aren't you pleased?
Yes. Yes, of course. Real tea.
There's been a lot of tea about lately. They've captured India or something.
I want you.
I want you too.
That was John Hurt as Winston Smith and Susanna Hamilton, a real find there, quite appealing as Julia. 1984 has been filmed twice now. This second version is better than the first, but despite all the artistry involved, the bleak set decoration you could see there, the noble performances, it still left me unmoved, as if I were watching it all at a distance. And that even applies to the fine burned-out performance by the late Richard Burton in his last big screen role, playing a member of the ruling party who tries to brainwash the last bit of humanity out of Winston Smith.
Do you remember writing in your diary, freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4?
Yes.
How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?
4.
And if the party says there are not 4, but 5, then how many?
5.
No. That's no use. You're lying.
Burton is very good in this picture, and that's not just because it's his last performance and it feels tragic to us. But why didn't this film work for me? Why isn't it the horrifying experience that Orwell's book is? Why is it even boring and repetitive at times? My only guess is that the film is too respectful of the book. Everyone seems to be acting as if they're associated with a classic, and there are absolutely no surprises in either the film's tone or style. It's all of a piece. The world is dark and gray, the ruling state is bad, can Winston survive, and then the movie's over. And I sat there admiring many of its individual elements, but by its whole, basically unmoved.
Well, there we have a real big disagreement, because I felt it was a real good movie, and I didn't feel it was too respectful to the novel. What I felt was that they had found their own vision of 1984, and that oddly enough, it looked a lot more like, let's say, post-war England than it would look like the 1984 of a more futuristic movie like the original 1950s version.
Right.
This is a movie that's made out of old junked cars, out of smashed office furniture, out of burned out radio tubes, out of people who really make you feel that that strawberry jam and that little tin of coffee are important to them, so that I did feel that this was a world of totalitarian, crushing kind of.
Well, I want to tell you what
brotherism.
happened to me. It's amazing to me. You know that famous television commercial made for Macintosh computers that ran in the Super Bowl, which is a parody of 1984.
Right.
I thought that that 1-minute commercial contained everything that this movie contained. And as a result, as I sat there watching it, I thought, well, I know what this is all about. And I knew what this movie was all about from its first frame to its last frame. Good actors, honorable film. So what?
I think you're really missing the boat on it, Gene. I think that it's a good movie, and I feel that the director, Michael Radford, has really done a great job of visualizing this material in an original way. Good performances. You liked Richard Burton. I like John Hurt.
No, that's too noble for me, but at any rate, go ahead.
Too noble. Okay, well, we don't want to see a movie that's too noble for us. Next at the movies, Harrison Ford fears for his life in the world of friendly persuasion.
So he wasn't a rebel. He was a big guy, like me?
big guy.
Our next movie is named Witness, and this movie is really good. It's thrilling and touching and exciting and scary and romantic, and it never puts one foot wrong. I really liked it. The movie begins in the Amish country of Pennsylvania when a young widow and her little boy set off on a train journey, and in the train station in Philadelphia, the little boy witnesses a murder, and Harrison Ford plays the police detective who gets assigned to cover the case. He shows the kids some mugshots, hoping he can identify the killer, but the answer to the case turns out to be a lot closer to home.
Okay. Hi, Tommy. That's right. Okay. And thank you for calling. That is good. Yeah. Oh, I know her. Here's a file.
When it turns out that Ford's fellow cops may be the killers, Ford realizes that he is in danger, and so is the kid, and so is the little boy's mother. So they all go back to the Amish settlement in Pennsylvania and try to hide out while Ford works on the case.
What are you doing? Come here. Come here, Samuel. Sit down. This is a loaded gun. This is very, very dangerous. Never, ever touch a loaded gun. Now I'm taking the bullets out. Now it's safe. Okay?
Okay, Mr. Book.
Look, call me John. I just don't want you to get hurt. I don't mean to yell at you. I just don't want you to get hurt. Look, it's all right for you to look at it now. It's unloaded. It's safe. You want to handle it. You can handle it while I'm here. But that's not right.
Samuel, wait for me downstairs. John Book, while you were in this house, I insist that you respect our ways.
Right. Here, take it.
The boy's mother there was played by Kelly McGillis, and at the center of this film is an extraordinary love story between that simple Amish woman and the cynical big city cop who's come to live on her farm. Witness is really two stories in one. It starts out as a murder mystery, and it works very well as a murder mystery, but then it also turns into a touching human story about the Amish and their ways and customs and the feelings that this man and this woman develop for each other. Harrison Ford has never given a better performance in a movie, and Kelly McGillis is wonderful. She's warm and direct as the mother there. Witness is a great movie, and it was directed, by the way, by Peter Weir, the same man who made Year of Living Dangerously. He's really on a roll,
He sure is. I think it's a very enjoyable film, and you can tell in a good movie. I know we can tell it. I think the average person can tell it, too. When you are in a movie, and it's that scene right what we saw there before, when the kid is walking around at the police station headquarters, I'm going to compliment this Peter Weir a lot. Hitchcock wouldn't have directed it any better. It's thrilling. We feel the tension. We take out the natural sound. We go to music. We're captivated. And then this awful discovery. Everyone's in jeopardy, and now the director has us, and we will go anywhere, and he takes us to two fresh places. The Amish community, and then back to the city, but viewed through the Amish eyes, and it seems very violent. The city that we live in the cities that we live in America are incredibly violent, viewed through these peaceful eyes. A beautiful piece of filmmaking.
It's a wonderful film, and so often on this program we've talked about thrillers that think that the mechanism of the thriller is enough to give you a movie. We have enough gunshots and enough action and a chase and a big explosion at the end. That's a movie. This is a thriller that deals with the situation that they get into and then makes these into people who are involved in the situation. The relationship between that man and woman, the way he fits into the community, the scene where they raise the barn, the scene where he gets to know some of the elders of the community. This is really a good movie.
But these are the Australian directors. They do it every time. They have a great feeling for the land. They make the land a character and the people very important rather than action. American directors are much too much interested in action and don't know how to direct the land or people as well.
Well, that may be a little bit of a big attack on American directors, but I agree with you. There's another one. Peter Weir knows exactly what he's doing in this movie.
Coming up next at the movies, another Australian director. The warden's wife springs a handsome prisoner, and it's based on a true story.
Are you going to tell on us? Are you going to tell on us? God won't hear you. You're not in church now.
Our next film is Mrs. Soffel, based on a true story from Pittsburgh in 1901, where the wife of a warden took a liking to a convicted killer and ended up not only helping him to break out of jail, but she also ran away with him and his convict brother. Diane Keaton plays the warden's wife, Mel Gibson, the prisoner she's attracted to, and here's the scene where they first meet face to face.
Bleeding. No! You're hurt. No! It's his blood. Easy! Easy! Leave him be! You better give me your arm, ma'am. You look a little... No. No, thank you, Mr. Evans. Here, wipe your face. Go on.
Thank you.
Mrs. Soffel.
Go tell the warden we got a prisoner he's cooling off in the bed. We've got 4 more cells down there.
Never mind, Jack.
A couple of hungry days will do Eddie's soul good.
Where'd you get that scar on your face, Mr. Biddle?
When they arrested me and Jack.
They shot you.
No, ma'am, I shot myself. I meant to kill myself. Don't you read the papers?
Because Mrs. Soffel has big stars and a dark mood and a sexual criminal subject matter as the relationship between them develops, there's an aura about it that suggests it's some kind of important film. I thought that it was a big important film when I went to see it, but I didn't see the film that way when I actually saw it. I enjoyed it simply as the movie equivalent of what is known as a woman's novel, the innocent heroine being swept away by the mysterious sexual stranger. And I thought Diane Keaton and Mel Gibson did a very good job of providing that kind of tension. For example, when Diane Keaton a little later receives a note hidden in a Bible from the convict who has captured her fancy.
I knew a man in Ohio Penn. He sawed through the bars on his cell. He held him in place with candle wax, so no one knew, until he flew the coop. Jack and me could do the same if we had saws. If you agree to this, hold your hand over your heart wherever you are and pledge to do it. Wherever I am, I will hear your pledge.
That's a nice moment. The movie Mrs. Soffel has its problems. First of all, her husband, the warden, is a real drip, so that leaving him is less the scandal than it should be. Also, the script has one very awkward moment late in the picture where the 3 of them are on the run like Bonnie and Clyde, and an old man wishes them well. It doesn't really sound like that would happen. But taken simply as the film equivalent of a romance novel, I think Mrs. Soffel works quite well.
Well, I didn't like the film, and I can't recommend it, but I must admit, I have to concede that you have found an ingenious defense for it, because I agree with you. It's not an important movie. It's not psychologically deep or convincing.
It says nothing about the way of the world like Bonnie and Clyde.
No, it doesn't. But if you do approach it as a woman's novel, in other words, this woman goes in, and here's the handsome prisoner, and he overpowers her and saws through the cell and takes her off and makes love to her and so forth, then, on that level, it fails.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate that.
I don't think it works like that either, but it's the only way in which I think the movie does really have any achievement at all. It seemed to me it was kind of an anemic Bonnie and Clyde on the road.
Yeah, it's not as powerful as that film. It isn't as rich about the country. No. But no, I tell you, you know what? I think there's a little bit of chauvinism going on in this picture. If it were simply reversed, If the man were the prisoner, well, let's see, no. If the woman were the prisoner and it was the man that she was attracted to, then I think everyone would say, oh, sure, I understand this. You know, he's turned on. Or,
I don't think any chauvinism at all was involved. What I didn't like was the fact that there was no real chemistry between the two people. I didn't believe Diane Keaton and Mel Gibson. I didn't believe there was any magnetism there.
No, that I really felt.
Really?
I felt she showed that she was really turned on.
Okay, well, let's take another look at the movies we reviewed this week. We both voted thumbs up on Songwriter, the endearing and offbeat country music movie starring Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson. A split decision, though, on 1984. I thought it was an effective vision of George Orwell's totalitarian society. Gene thought the movie was too respectful. 2 thumbs up, though, for Witness, the brilliant thriller and love story with a big city cop hiding out in an Amish community in Pennsylvania. And a tougher split decision for Mrs. Soffel with Diane Keaton and Mel Gibson. The movie never convinced me of their relationship, but Gene thought it worked, and he votes thumbs up for a women's gothic, escapist sexual fantasy.
Yeah, I think it'll have something.
I think that's the kind of thumbs up that's going to have the director, you know, putting her hands up and tearing out her hair, because it's the kind of recommendation you don't really want to get for your movie.
Well, I don't know. That's it for this week. It's better than a knock. Next time we'll be back with more reviews of new movies, including The Breakfast Club, the latest comedy from the director of 16 Candles, and we'll also review Mischief, another teenage comedy starring Doug McKeon. And until then, we'll see you at the movies.
Pan American, whether it's business or pleasure or a little bit of both. Across the country and around the world, Pan Am, you can't beat the experience. America's favorite movie candies are coming home. Now enjoy Raisinets, Goobers, and Snowcaps at home and at the movies. Star attractions for your movie time pleasure. Liquid Lemon Pledge for a clearly more beautiful, natural shine. Liquid Lemon Pledge in the Easy Pump Spray for all your wood furniture.